to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in, everybody.
It's mock draft time!
Oh!
Yeah, baby!
Oh, you got me!
We are so back.
Oh, I didn't see that
was
coming,
a
Mike.
surprise, and what a great time you stepped into the void, because I won't be welcoming in for a while. And you stepped into the void, and you delivered the excitement that people have been looking forward to.
I got a DM from Brooksy.
Oh,
And he was like, I mean, you know, Christmas Carol, Tiny Tim.
Yeah,
He was
is
like,
that Brooksy?
Yeah, he was, or like Oliver. He was like, please, sir.
He wanted it?
I need it's mock draft time, sir.
You know what?
And then
This
he
is
shakes
One
his
crutch.
Yeah.
the first mock draft of the season, Thursday, May 22nd. It deserves some special attention.
We are degenerates. What are we doing?
This mock draft is going to be outstanding today. It is filled 100%. Like, the three of us are in the draft. The rest of the draft is filled with staff from the Fantasy Footballers live, so there won't be any, no AI drafting in the middle of May. It's actual decisions and picks by parts of our team, and so
I'm AI in this draft.
We
bro.
build the ADP.
yeah, this is going to be so much fun. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure my team will look great, but it's going to be a good time. We have other things to talk about first. We have 10 days. 10 days until
Oh my goodness.
the ultimate draft kit.
Dominate your draft with Ultimate Draft Kit. Dominate your draft with Ultimate Draft Kit.
It has been requested, this song.
I don't think we have to fulfill every request.
I haven't hit that button in a long time, Mike.
Over the last
Song of the
couple
summer.
of years, AI has really come a long way. And that was an AI-made song a couple years ago. I feel like they could do a better job. I feel like if we were
I don't know, man. That might be the pinnacle.
That was the peak
You ever
of
heard
AI.
that song?
That's beautiful. 10 days until the ultimate draft kit, which means you have 10 days to get it at pre-order pricing. All of our tier-based rankings, all the customized scoring for your league. We have the ability now, you'll be able to import your ESPN private and public leagues, your NFL leagues, Sleeper, Yahoo. We've got support for the most platforms we've ever had. We've got 100-plus player profile videos coming out. We got all our sleepers, breakouts, busts, and values figured out, consistency charts. The mobile app is outstanding. A huge shout-out to our team here.
Oh, man. The update that is coming.
Yeah.
The update that is coming. By the time the Ultimate Draft Kit launches, it will be out. Make sure you download the latest version of the app.
It's faster than it's ever been. It's more effective to be able to switch between scoring systems and to search for players and to be able to filter players and mark them. It is an extremely valuable tool. It is our, now you are laughing.
What's going on, Chuckles?
I'm laughing because I just saw a piece of poop on our set.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. What is this?
There was a piece of poop just sitting on the set. Oh, man. Going back to Deucer's Alley.
Jokesters.
It doesn't take much to
guys.
entertain
Man.
low IQ people. You know what I mean?
Man, that's why Jason left.
Oh,
It was a great joke. It was a good gag.
yeah, that was funny. UltimateDraftKit.com is where you want to go for that. And we do have an announcement. Hit an announcement sound. Thank you. The Dynasty Week.
I already did that.
We did have Dynasty Week last week.
There we go.
That is 3 versions. We have a winner. We were giving away a signed Nico Collins jersey. The winner, gentlemen?
Let me pull the tab back up. We got Max Hughes.
Max, congratulations. You will be receiving a Nico Collins jersey, signed. Any more poop on the set?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, great. Good. This is a thing now. This is a thing that we do.
Just hide poop on the show. Great.
Oh, gosh.
It's a reason to go to YouTube, I guess. Let's talk news.
News and notes from around the league.
Well. I said on the show on Tuesday I did not think that the tush push ban would pass. And then every single tweet and piece of news that we got from that moment on said it was definitely going to get banned.
You looked real stupid.
And I was like, I guess I was way off. And then Adam Schefter reports today the proposed ban of the tush push did not receive enough votes at the owners' meeting.
The last thing I had saw was that they're pulling it behind closed doors.
They
did that.
And then they voted
And
on
it's
that.
not
I believe it
passing.
is a done deal. 10 teams did not vote to ban it. So they voted to
I
keep
need
it.
names.
Oh, I've got the names. I
need
tweeted them out.
names. I need to know who the true heroes
Well,
are.
Let me tell you who the true heroes are.
The whole division wanted it banned.
Of course.
Other than Philly.
The NFC West wanted
And
it
you know
banned.
what?
We're weak.
Look, I will allow all NFC East people to want to ban it.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine.
I would too.
That's fine.
I would be in the coward's position, and I would own it. I would say, yeah, I don't like that play.
Okay. Give me.
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you who is awesome, because there's 10 teams that banned that said, we're not banning this play.
Yeah.
We're going to stop the play. Nine
We're
of
men.
10 teams, they don't play the Eagles this year. So that's pretty cool. But the real juggernaut, I mean, the Lions, the Lions are out there. They're on the schedule. They got the Eagles this year, and they're like, no, we're not. Dan Campbell is not going to stand for being weak sauce.
Man Campbell.
Campbell.
Coming through.
Guns Mahoney.
Dude, my dude, the legend of Dan Campbell just,
Man Campbell.
it just,
Biting kneecaps.
it grows.
Pushing tushes.
This is, like, is he Paul Bunyan?
Eagles, Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Jets, and Titans said, we're going to play football and try to stop the play.
Yes. Love it.
Okay. All right. It won't go anywhere. I don't know if Mike was, publicly it seems like, Man Campbell, it's the manly thing to be pro tush push. But I think somewhere deep down with the first pick in our League of Record draft and Saquon Barkley sitting there, you might have wanted it to be
I would have accepted it because I would have personally benefited from it, but I still did not want it to be banned.
Couple other things you can talk about real quick before we jump into the mock draft. The Titans, this is more discussion from head coach Brian Callahan. Says he wants the backfield to be more of a split in 2025. A healthier division of labor between Pollard and
He did.
Tajay Spears.
The part of the quote that I find the most interesting is he says, I think in a perfect world, it's a healthier division of labor.
Yeah, we don't live in that world.
And look, Tajay Spears is fine, but Tony Pollard is a good running back.
He's a better running back. Which
so
is
the perfect
why
world is like the better player needs to be on the field more.
It's
I think what he's
exactly
saying is
what
in a
was-
perfect world, Tajay Spears would be good enough to split 50-50.
That's what I'm reading.
This is not any different than the way they walked into the season last year.
All the talk last year was about an even split. But then push came to shove, and Tony Pollard was better, and that's going to happen.
And
Move
Pollard-
Pollard's ADP down, and I'll take it.
Pollard was one of 5 running backs to average 16-plus rush attempts and 3.5-plus targets a game. So, if you're the better player, you're going to play more.
Mm-hmm.
And Spears missed games with injuries. So, this is maybe just a discount on Tony Pollard. Maybe he shows up in the values.
I will say, I'm not gonna just say I guarantee it's the exact same as last year. You have to pay attention to this stuff, but they did say it, and there's such a difference watching. To me, there's a difference watching Pollard and Spears.
Remember when Michael Carter was supposed to have a big part of the backfield with
Yep.
Breece Hall? Kyron Williams says he's feeling good about his chances for an extension. So what are we like? We're like pre-extension optimism.
It is. This is one of the most important, like I would say for fantasy purposes, for dynasty leagues, this is the contract I've been waiting for, because what happens to Kyron's value with or without this extension is monumentally different. If he gets an extension, I think he's a top 6 fantasy running back who's young enough with several more years to play for a good team. If he doesn't get it, he's probably going to hit the free agency market next year and get replaced and become pretty irrelevant on some other team.
I did not know this. This is news to me. I did not see this announcement. The Buffalo Bills will be featured on the 2025 edition of Hard Knocks.
I like it.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they want me to tell you that Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel will take the number 1 and number 2 reps for the Browns. Okay, that's not really a shock for me.
When OTA's Flacco's not in that list.
Yeah, I've heard he may be moving on.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard he may be a trade candidate for a team that needs a
A real backup.
Yeah, because they didn't. I don't think they anticipated the double up in the draft of taking two guys, and then they traded for Kenny Pickett. But I guess just I mean, in the order of things, I would expect the guy who got their first Pickett to get the first opportunity, and then the draft pick higher than Shedeur Sanders to get the second one. But if Flacco left, I mean, the door's even more open for one of these rookies to be the starting quarterback at some point during this season. I think we know
it will be really hard. Like I tried to stack Kenny Pickett for 17 games because I believed that was who they brought in to be the starter. That is, who will be their primary quarterback. But then the more I dug into it, I'm like, there's just no way this team with their projected win total with Kenny Pickett's talent level that he can play 17. They're going to lose too many games. They've got two rookies behind him. I just don't see a world where he succeeds enough.
Any other news back there? Any more poop on this set?
No, sir.
It's only a matter
Funny
of time.
clowns over there in Deucer's Alley. Okay, well, it's time. Let's do it.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
Well. It is. It's time.
Makalaka Ding Dong.
12-team half PPR draft, mock draft. We've got one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, 4 bench spots. I am drafting at the 2 spot today. Mike at the 3. Jason down near the turn at pick 11. But like I said, all the spots are filled with live drafters here from the Fantasy Footballers team. So we're going to get right into it. And the first pick off the board, the Falcon has the pick, and Jamar Chase is gone. Number 1.
Okay.
That puts me on the clock. And I think my selection here, tush push or not, we'll go Saquon. I think Saquon Barkley is very safe, and I will take Saquon Barkley here at the 102 and get it off to a smooth start and put Mike in a different position.
At the 103, I'm already because I have not mock drafted.
Please tell me you're tilting.
No, I'm not tilted. It's like this is an actual real decision now that I'm looking at it because I got CMC's my RB1. But and
you're not going to draft him in the second round.
We all know the risks. Yeah, if I want him, I got to take him here. And it's like Bijan's my 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I actually have to make that selection and inherit the risk that is Christian McCaffrey, am I willing to do it? It is certainly hard. And, I mean, he's not even close in ADP, but he won't make it back.
Well, that is part of the risk rating versus you're projecting Christian McCaffrey in the UDK for a full season. But there is a risk factor to Christian McCaffrey that you've ranked higher than Bijan.
100%.
And so that is still a decision to be made. That's why we say you factor all those elements in when you're making the draft pick, not just the order of operations.
Yeah.
How are you going to build your team? What are you looking at risk-wise down the line?
Yep, and upside. And Andy, you were talking about on the, I think, Tuesday's show, and I'm with you, of like looking over the 49ers schedule.
It's juicy.
That's a schedule that they should be really winning games. And like I don't see a way. I'll stop talking. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Whoa!
I'm gonna do it. And
wow.
Part of that decision, of like Brock Purdy's there, the extension's in. It's like, and I was voicing, I have some concerns about Michael Penix. Like Bijan's still gonna be great and all, but do we get into week 7 and we're like, man, Penix doesn't have enough to make this offense really hum, and it's hurting Bijan.
It will be fascinating. I would have taken Bijan at 2 over Saquon. That was one of the things I was surprised about coming into the offseason. It was like, okay, Saquon's going to be the number 1 running back. What he just did, 2,000 yards rushing, all of the rushing touchdowns, a great offense, running it back with all the same personnel. And but when the stats fell, I had Bijan in my number 1 spot. He projects to catch so many more passes than Saquon. Mm-hmm. And also there is a little bit, to me, Bijan is the least risky. I know that
I agree. I think he feels like he's the safest, but his true ceiling to me doesn't feel like Saquon or Christian McCaffrey.
I agree with that.
We
know the explosive plays. We know that
Saquon
brings you week winning weeks.
Yeah.
I just looked at the numbers, by the way. I have 274 fantasy points in a half-point league projected for Saquon, and I have 275 for Bijan. I have them literally neck and neck. I said I think Saquon's safer to me because of the Penix variable by a little bit. That's why I went that way. Both guys belong there. After Mike went with CMC, that meant Bijan dropped to 4. Then Jefferson off the board. CeeDee Lamb at 106. Gibbs drops to 7. Do you think Gibbs will be higher than that in the majority of drafts?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in this range.
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 7 because Jefferson and Lamb, I don't blame anyone for starting the draft with one of those two guys. It'll just be how do you prefer to build.
So Gibbs at 7. Derrick Henry off the board at 108.
Wow.
He just signed a new 2-year extension.
Oh, yes, he did.
It doesn't really seem like there's a way for Henry to have a disappointing year to me. I think Henry is very safe. Puka Nacua goes 109 ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra goes at 110, and Jason, you're on the clock here as we get through the first round. 5 wideouts off the board, 5 running backs off the board. Are you asking AI what to do here? I see you typing over there.
Yeah, no, I know who I want to take for sure.
So we have a situation brewing here.
I see him. I don't know if you know how to type.
We
can all.
Jason.
Let's just announce it.
I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Jason
is very easy.
He's trying to buy time because he cannot find Ashton Genty, which means he cannot spell.
No,
he's
Genty.
just sitting there. I'm looking right at him. You found him, didn't you?
He just showed up, guys. He just popped back in.
I refreshed it. He's there now.
I was on the wide receiver tab.
Oh, he's not going to be.
He's not in there.
I'm like, I know there's an A.
He's over here
I know
sweating.
it said Genty, but there's an A in it.
Have you ever done this?
This would have been amazing if you had to draft a different player. That would have been the best possible
I've timed
outcome.
out, guys. I can't find him.
Yeah, I think this is a spot where he will go in August. I mean, I could see him climb up, but
that was great.
I can see him going 4.
Yeah, he might, but
some people are just gonna be like,
there's going to be a lot of leagues where he's at the back of the first, and I think that value is astronomical.
because McCaffrey will not go at the 3 in. I think most leagues. I bet McCaffrey's true ADP will be like the second half of the first round.
Unless you keep taking him this high and maybe you drive it
Yeah.
up. But Ashton Genty to Jason eventually at the 111. Josh Jacobs off the board at 112. I have Josh Jacobs ranked very high in my running back rankings. I have him ahead of Christian McCaffrey and Bucky Irving and those guys.
Wow.
I think that Jacobs will, for a lot of people, be one of the highest value picks because he just drops. This is just what he does. And I'm not surprised Brooks is the one that took him at 112 because Brooks has always been a Jacobs believer. And, he's the motor on that offense. He's going to score double-digit touchdowns, I think. So Jacobs goes at 112, Nico Collins at 201, and Jason back on the clock, hopefully with a simpler-to-spell name.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy to find this one. I know where I'm going. I will say this. I have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. available to be drafted here. Brian Thomas Jr. I have so high. He's my wide receiver 4. He's ahead of Malik Neighbors in my personal rankings. Both would be excellent picks here. However, I think that I'm going to take that positional advantage. I'm going to draft Brock Bowers. I've been saying this offseason.
You are Team Raiders.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think both of those players are going to be complete difference makers. And if you've got them there are years where, if you had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, you're fine. And this projects that way for me because there's not a lot of other people on the roster I'm fearful of.
So Brock Bowers at the 202. Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and T. Higgins back to back to back off the board after Bowers. And then Jonathan Taylor at 206. A.J. Brown goes off the board to Betsy. Betsy has Lamb and A.J. Brown.
Oh, man, no T.
And so the wide receiver position all filled up. And then Trey McBride goes off the board at 208.
Okay.
Look, had he been sitting there for either of us, Mike, I'm sure we would have
very strongly
thought about
it, yes.
Trey McBride in the second round here. But we'll take a break before Mike and I make our second round selections. First round, I went Barkley, Mike with CMC, Jason with Genty. All went running backs. I don't know how often we end up that way in these mocks, but all running backs in the first round. and we'll be back in just a second. All right, Mike, you are back on the clock. Christian McCaffrey was the first-round pick at 103. Devon Achane just went off the board at 209 to producer Borland himself.
And
What's your thought process right now?
So the wide receiver run has changed where how I'm looking at this. I would have hoped a higher tiered wide receiver would have dropped compared to the running backs. So, but I'm just going to take the value that's coming to me, and in my personal rankings, I have him at running back 7. So I will be selecting Chase Brown, one of the big winners of the NFL draft. I know there's who's the rookie? Who'd the Bengals take that everyone?
Taj Boyd?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know he's got his supporters around there, but I think that Chase Brown is going to be Joe Mixon levels of opportunities and snaps, and he's going to catch the ball so much.
Yeah, he is going to catch a ton of dump offs from Burrow. Taj is exciting because so much production, and he lands on a roster that's great offense with only Chase Brown ahead of him. But then I watched film and I was like, there's a reason he dropped so far in the draft.
Like Chase Brown was a day 3 guy too. It took him they kept going to Joe Mixon, who was on the field. That was his best quality.
Chase Brown's a great player. I also knew you would take Chase Brown over Bucky Irving.
Yes.
Which benefits me. I have Bucky Irving higher than Chase Brown. I'm also sitting here at the 2-3 turn looking at the Falcon, who has Jamar Chase in the first round, who needs to pick up a running back, because my number 7 wide receiver, Drake London, and my number 8 running back, Bucky Irving, are both sitting here.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and snag Bucky Irving here. I think it is the player.
Value.
It's the player that I want.
Wait, who put a poop emoji on my draft pick?
We're just frying poop all over the place.
It's Baby Jake. Baby Jake, you think I won't find out?
We are doing a podcast, Baby Jake.
People can see this. Oh, my gosh.
I knew it was a problem to get him into this draft. So I went with Bucky Irving to pair with Saquon Barkley. Drake London does go next. I want to pretend that I forced that pick.
Yeah.
So Jamar Chase, Drake London, and then he gets good value on Kyron Williams at 301. You have to like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love Kyron Williams in the 3rd round. I think that's where he's been going all offseason in best ball. I don't see him.
Is he in your top 10?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's my RB10 right now. So that's pretty wild.
All right. I am back on the clock. Barkley and Irving for the first 2 rounds. I'm in the point of the mock draft is to work through the thought processes.
Absolutely.
And the first time you react to things. It's between, for me right now, it is between Marvin Harrison, who I have inside my top 12, to be my wide receiver 1, or the place I'm in right now is like, if I wanted a top tier tight end, I'm not going to get one with the next pick.
Ooh.
So this would be a super early Kittle spot.
Sure.
Because I don't think there's a chance at 411 that George Kittle is there. It's just a little bit too early for me. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in a top 12 wide receiver by my board and go with Marvin Harrison.
Was really hoping you didn't do that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison is lower in ADP. If people are going by ADP, he should get to the end of this round with me. And that would,
by ADP.
By
yeah.
ADP.
I think I passed on like 6 wideouts that are on Sleeper's ADP currently listed higher.
Yeah, and I would have taken Marvin Harrison. I would have dreamed of him getting to me at the 311.
So, Mike, you are on the clock. McCaffrey, Chase Brown, pick 303.
So you can tell this is an all-staff draft, as a quarterback has not been drafted yet. So it's very tempting to take whoever it is at your QB1, Lamar, Allen, whoever it is. If it's hard, but I'm going to hold off on that because Ladd McConkey is still available. I mean, he is not anymore because he is on my roster. Ladd McConkey is in my top 10. Just check out anyone's grading of Ladd McConkey and the season, the peripherals, like the target and yards per route run. There's just fantasy production, him doing that all in his rookie year. People who chart how open a player gets. Like, there's I have failed to see anything negative about what Ladd McConkey did last year, and it took him, just like Herbert, it took time for the passing game to get going. But I think that Ladd McConkey's ceiling is tremendous. I do like Trey Harris. I don't have a problem with him at all, but I think that Ladd is a true number one, and top 5 is in range of outcomes for him.
Wow, that is very bullish. I love hearing that because I love Ladd.
I am all in, man.
Wow. All right.
So Harrison to myself. Mike grabs a wide out as well. So we have 2 running backs and a wide receiver through 3 rounds. JSN goes to Al Borland with the next pick. Terry McLaurin off the board. Rashee Rice at the 306. What do you think about that pick?
I hate it. I hate it for me. No, I've got Rashee Rice very high. I don't have the suspension happening this year in my current
Let's
projections.
talk about him for just a split second.
Sure.
Because I feel like I'm in a different place with Rashee Rice than you two are. I think you two are you have an expectation that he'll just hit the field and be their alpha in every capacity, fantasy-wise, and you don't see the emergence of Xavier Worthy over the back half of the year or the availability of Hollywood Brown impacting him very much. And I guess I just want to, like, for me, I do see things being a little different than when he was kind of on fire before the injury. But both of you have him graded out really high.
Yeah, I have him being the clear-cut number 1 target in the offense. That doesn't mean that Xavier Worthy and Kelsey and Hollywood aren't involved, but I do think target market share of the Chiefs, it will be Rashee Rice in the middle of the field, those short, quick slants that seemingly were unstoppable last year before the injury. He's my wide receiver 13 right now. He is much riskier here than most people. When you say, oh, he's my wide receiver 13, that's great. There's obviously a range of outcomes here where Kelsey's still at a 24% target share and doesn't take a drastic drop the way that I'm projecting, and that Xavier Worthy becomes better. So it's a risky pick, but we're at a place right now in the draft where when I look at the wide receivers available, they aren't, to me, no one is flawless here. So I would rather take the upside of what we saw in those first 3 games last year with Rashee Rice when he was like the wide receiver 2.
Yeah, and the Worthy breakout is interesting to me because they did. It seems like they finally gave up on how they were using him at the beginning of the year, and then they said, okay, we're just gonna try and use you like Rice. We're gonna be gadget type stuff, and we're gonna give you short things and see if you can make something happen. And that in the fantasy playoffs, wide receiver 17, 12, and 16, but this is 11 targets to get him to 46 yards, 11 targets to get him to 65, and then 9 to get him to 79. So maybe he was improving over that, but I bring that up because Rice is so much better at that than Worthy. I think Worthy has to go back to being a more traditional stretch the field type of a guy, and you got to put Rice right back where he was because he was so dominant.
I haven't heard anybody really look at Rice, though, with any hesitation due to injury recovery.
Yeah,
the fact that could
that's
have
fair.
an impact.
It feels like it's been
like
long
Godwin's
enough.
return took some time. It is a major injury, but I think he will be like one of the players with the biggest ADP variability.
Yeah,
because if you have a conviction about him and you saw what the peak would be, it's possible you get that. Betsy, no running backs. Lamb, AJ Brown, Rashee Rice. Setting himself up for a Zamir White backfield. All right, we've got Josh Allen, the first quarterback off the board at 307. The beginning of a run, apparently. Breece Hall goes off the board at 308. Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels back-to-back. And we're back to Jason, who Geno Smith's still there. You can get Jacoby Myers.
Yeah,
Other Raiders are available.
If I could draft Tom Brady right now,
as
an
an executive
owner,
yeah,
I would.
But Genty and Bauer so far.
Yeah, so I took the gamble. This is being the first mock draft of the year. You're kind of exploring things. When I took Bowers, it was like, I wonder what it will be like waiting till the 3-4 turn to get my first wide receiver.
You wanted Marvin, you wanted Rashi.
Wanted Marvin and Rushy, and they didn't go. I would have been happy with McConkey or JSN. Both of those guys went. The answer is it sucks. It doesn't feel good to sit here, and there's a lot.
So
I'm
in
in
hindsight,
the old,
Bowers wouldn't have been the pick.
I'm not. I'll decide after the draft. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see what wide receivers I can mine through this. I'm in old man territory right now. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, 3 awesome.
Do you want me to give you some more? You want
No.
Cooper Kupp in the mix?
No,
or-
I don't
More
want
older
Cooper Kupp in the
guys?
mix. Tyreek seems like the easy best name pick to grab. I'm going to not do that. I'm a little bit scared of what we saw from Tyreek last year when he was not very good and he's older. I want guys who looked like they were dominating, and I'm going to take the highest on my current rankings, which is
I bet it's Devontae Adams.
not Devontae Adams.
Okay, who is it?
It's Mike Evans.
Okay, Mike Evans off the board at the 311, but you'll be picking in just a moment because Brooksy went with George Kittle. I did not expect him to make it all the way back around. Certainly not after talking about it. But Kittle at 312. Do you like Kittle at, like, looking at this board and where you have these players ranked so far in the UDK? Kittle 312, Bowers 202. How does that disparity feel?
You can mentally say, "Oh, Kittle was my 4th round pick,"
Yeah,
if that helps.
That's
I would
true.
say
That's true. Could,
I think the right way to look at it is to say, would you be happier with Nico Collins and George Kittle, or Brock Bowers and Mike Evans? Because those were the picks there, the wide receiver and the tight end, and I think I would be happier with Collins and Kittle.
I think so too. Kittle off the board at 312, and then a very underrated player, Chuba Hubbard at 401. Jason, you were back on the clock and you made a quick pick, Devontae Adams. So you get the guy I thought you were taking.
I get the old men. One. I like how they pair together. You expect Devontae Adams to have a high target count.
He also used to play for the Raiders, so I see what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. It's like hint of
Smart.
Raider.
A hint of Raider.
And honestly, Mike Evans is a Buccaneer. You know, it's not that
Oh,
far
Raider and a
away.
Buccaneer.
It's a
my
pirate
gosh.
thing.
I'm really going pirate here.
Oh my god.
Your high yard team.
Yes.
Yar. The Deuces Alley really liked that joke.
What's your yard per route run?
Oh my gosh. It's high. It's very
yeah,
high.
it is very.
Tyreek Hill off the board at 403 to Papa Josh, and then the rest of this round goes Ken Walker, DJ Moore. Here's the steal of the round, in my opinion. Alvin Kamara at 406.
Yeah,
I gave it to.
I was begging. I was just like, oh, maybe they'll forget about him.
No, I was contemplating going one wide receiver, one running back, with Kamara being that running back.
Well, Kamara goes at 406. Great
But
pick,
he wasn't a
great
Raider.
pick there. And then Hurts, James Cook, and Joe Burrow. So 5 quarterbacks go between the 307 and the 409, which might end Mike and I's consideration of quarterback at this point in time.
Yep, I had the toes crossed for Jalen Hurts to drop.
So it didn't happen because you had kind of said, hey, do I start the run in the 3rd round? Experimented with that. You're back on the clock. Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Ladd McConkey, and give us some of the names of players that you're thinking about here.
So if I were looking at running back, I mean, you're into, well, James Conner is there, but it's a little bit more of a.
Why does it never feel good to draft James Conner?
That's what I said.
But it always works well.
I'm like, we're in the dead zone for me, but James Conner's there, and I don't want to do that to him because he just comes through year after year.
Joe Mixon's still sitting there. I know
he's dead to me.
off-brand
He's
for
dead
you.
to me.
Sure.
But it's like, but here's the guys, like, just you're at question marks, like, of Joe Mixon's the efficiency. James Conner is the age and the history or the injury history.
Those are my running backs, 14 and 15.
yeah, and
Mixon and Conner?
Mixon and Conner.
and
I got him at
Montgomery,
13 and 15.
and then it's like, do you start the rookies here or not? Well, not Genty, of
Right,
course. He never
Hampton,
counts.
Henderson.
But Marion Hampton, what do you believe about the timeshare with Najee? How long does I think Hampton will be the leader of the timeshare by the end of the year? But how long does that take? How big is the timeshare 50-50? I struggle with that. And so I'm going to move over. I'm going to take another wide receiver. I am ready to be hurt again.
Oh, I know who that is.
By Garrett Wilson. And I will just be an ostrich and put my head in the sand and believe that Justin Fields is going to fix everything.
I think I'm going to call
At
right
least
now.
some things.
I think Justin Fields is going to be on your roster at the end of this draft. That's my guess.
How about you mind your business?
Garrett Wilson, I feel like he is like Mike is his next tattoo is probably Garrett Wilson somewhere. He just seems to find his way onto your rosters.
Like Do you guys remember that Garrett Wilson was a top 10 fantasy wide receiver?
No, because it doesn't feel like he was.
I know.
In part because of the trade of Devontae Adams halfway through the year that just kind of
We talked about him a good amount on this week's Dynasty podcast because it was like, what do you do with the Dynasty value of him? But it was like, do remember, weeks 5 through 9, it was legitimately happening. Like 22 points, 20 points, 11, 14, 25. Like he was – the breakout was real and the breakout was happening.
He was in consideration for me.
And then they went and got Devontae Adams, and this isn't just we got Devontae Adams. It's his best friend quarterback said we need to get Devontae Adams. So I still believe in Garrett.
I think it's a good pick.
I like that you made it. It simplifies things for me. I will be going running back. You know I love him.
Oh, you got to be going Joe
I'm
Mixon.
taking Joe Mixon. I will have 3 top 13 running backs on this roster with Saquon, Bucky, and Mixon. It makes, when you have the luxury of taking Mixon this late, it also mitigates a little of the age-related injury stuff he was dealing with. When he's out there, he's going to be productive. So I'm happy with how that came together. James Conner, oh, you son of a gun! You did that. you did that on purpose.
Oh,
you knew.
Good
you
for
knew.
you, man.
What?
So that's
The Falcon flying
the
high.
Falcon is a son of a gun. This
He's
is
blowing
why
up the draft.
he just took Jamison Williams at the 501, who was sitting.
How many rounds of
He was
early
sitting,
is that?
He was sitting 7 or 8 wide receivers below in ADP. I had him tucked to the side. He would have been my pick at 502, which you knew.
That's what you get for taking old busted Joe Mixon.
Well, so let me tell you, I had a backup plan. I didn't know you'd be a hooligan. So here's what I'm going to do. I look at Chris Godwin. He's my highest rated wide receiver right now on the board. However, I have Bucky Irving. Chris Godwin is coming off an injury. There's some variability there. I have Marvin Harrison. I think what I'm going to go with here is the true alpha of the team. We don't know what it's going to be like yet. We don't know who the quarterback is, but I'm gonna take the shot at it because if it's Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf will be a value at 502. Period. And I don't think he'll go at 502 because I think it will be Aaron Rodgers, and I think he will be taken higher than this. You talked about Garrett Wilson and what Adams did in New York. It wasn't pretty, but those guys produced, and Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to his guy, and frankly, they don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm happy getting a true one.
Pickens being traded was so incredible for if people who want to go in on DK Metcalf.
So I'm going to go Metcalf. I can't remember. It's very rare that I've drafted DK Metcalf in any of these mocks.
Right.
Year over year. He's not often on my roster. He's often overvalued in my opinion, but he's off the board. So I've got Barkley, Irving, Mixon at running back, Harrison, and Metcalf at wide receiver. Mike, you are back on the clock. You went wide receiver with McConkey and Wilson.
I am balanced, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, and look, guys, it's May. I just want to feel alive, and thankfully, my rankings and my projections.
Blake Jarwin?
Stand up with me. No.
Adam Troutman?
Travion Henderson.
Okay.
Your
all right.
ADP be darned right now. It will.
So that's Overhampton.
It will correct. It is because the way that my projection is going is the competition of Ramondre, especially with McDaniels. I think that Ramondre is not an issue. Where Najee is an issue at the start.
There's some pretty nice comments about Ramondre yesterday from the head coach, Mr. Vrabel.
Yeah, well, we will see when Henderson puts the pads on, and he's going to catch way more passes. Oh,
Jason has made a sound and a clap.
I knew it was going to be.
He's right behind Henderson for me.
So Henderson off the
So
board.
it was Henderson or Judkins for me. But
Godwin, Hampton, Harvey. So 3 straight rookies. Devontae Smith, and then 3 more running backs. David Montgomery, who I think Jason would have been happy with. Quinshon Judkins.
That was who I was targeting the whole time.
And then Isaiah Pacheco off the board.
Taking the Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, old men at wide receivers, I was going to try to go Quinshon Judkins and Ashton Genty at running back. It was a great pick. Leave it to Betts and Borg to screw up my draft. Kyle, you are fired. So here I am. I've got one running back, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. Looking at who is available. This last round, it was like I knew I could get the rookies to come through. R.J. Harvey, Hampton, Henderson, Quinshon Judkins.
You thought you could.
Man, I got none of them. They're all gone. But there is one running back left that I believe in that had day 2 draft capital that I think is going to really surprise.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if I'm just going to take him because I
was like, what round 2? But you said day 2.
Yes, day 2.
Yes.
Caleb Johnson was a prospect I really liked. I think that he fits the Steelers' style of play.
5 rookie running backs.
5 rookie running backs
In the
in
first
round
round.
5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, old man wide receivers, young running backs, and we're almost done with the 5th round here. Brooks has got a couple of picks at the end of round 5 and the 6th round. We'll take a break and come back with Jason's 6th round pick. All right, Roma Dunze goes at 512 and Xavier Worthy at 601. I told you guys this when I got done with my projections. I have Worthy projected for more fantasy points than Rashee Rice. But that does not mean, and we know this from watching the Chiefs for a while, they don't always have fantasy relevance at wide receiver. But I do think Worthy's going to be a big contributor. I think it's a pretty good value in the 6th round. Jason, you are back on the clock. Genty, Caleb Johnson at running back, Bowers, Evans, and Adams as pass catchers.
Yeah, so I could at this point look at quarterback. To me, there's just a bunch of guys in the same tier. I don't think there's a difference maker where I've got to have one that's left, depending on how you view Baker repeating what he did last year or Kyler running more or whatever. Maybe you see someone different. But to me, there's just a lot of guys there that are all the same tier. In fact, my highest ranked quarterback is way lower in ADP, so I'm not worried about the quarterback position for a while. I could go either way. I could go running back or wide receiver. Personally, I think I'm weaker at wide receiver, so I'm going to go that way. And I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to take a risky pick, a guy that has to be the only wide receiver left here who has a consistency score of an A. When he's on the field, he is fantastic. Chris Olave is a great wide receiver.
Oh, you got Kyle back there.
He's a great wide receiver. Obviously, there are fears of just another concussion that stops the season. But if he's on the field, I think he's going to score a lot of fantasy
You
points.
get shucked.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, if you get shucked, is that good?
I think it's good. I think
Like, you'd like to be shucked?
I would say in general, I don't think that sounds like a very positive phrase.
no.
That's more of a negative phrase.
Yeah. I mean, here, try
Is that what?
Okay.
try it in a sentence.
Is that what you do with corn?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
shuck
you
an
do
ear?
shuck- you
with
shuck
corn?
But yeah, I want you to use
Okay.
it. Use it,
It's
but
like
use
throwing away a pick.
it. Say, I got shucked, but as positive as you can.
Yeah, say it really.
I got shucked. Yeah, that sounds pretty easy to me, man. I don't know.
This went a different direction than
That's-
I was
yeah.
intending.
I just following the rules here.
Yeah, I'm surprised you set him up like that. Chris Olave
Chris
to
Olave.
Jason. Tony Pollard at 603. And then Teteroa McMillan, rookie wide receiver off the board at 604.
I like that.
Huge run of wide receivers here.
I like that.
Yeah, McMillan is a good pick there. Sutton is a good pick at 605, I think. It's just a very solid wide receiver. You can put Sutton into your wide receiver too and feel safe every week. Getting that in the 6th round feels good to me. Waddle, Travis Hunter, another rookie off the board, Juwan Jennings, and then Zay Flowers. So 6 straight wideouts and 8 of 9 in the 6th round. I don't like that because I think that's where I would have been looking. But Mike, you're back on the clock.
Whew. All right, now we're getting into it here.
This is where the mock gets really
Yeah, I got the
interesting.
3 running backs, so I'll take another running back if I need to, but I don't. Is Tyrone Tracy a starting running back? Is Jalen Warren a starting running back? I do not know. And then at the wide receiver position, it's Addison, It's George Pickens. It's Jerry Jeudy. Brandon Ayuk, who that's insane. That is
The current ADP?
yeah, but Brandon I wouldn't draft
Brandon
Brandon
Ayuk is-
Ayuk for
yeah.
like the next 6 rounds.
Unless you have an IR spot. I don't
But
even know
even
if
still,
he's draftable.
you're having an opportunity cost of, even if it doesn't feel like a fantastic player that you're going to be getting at this particular spot. I'm going to go. So it's my wide receiver 3. It's not necessarily where my projections are, but I'm going to chase a little bit of wide receiver 1 upside. Everyone's favorite player from last year. I'm going to take Calvin Ridley.
Interesting. How did it feel to draft Calvin Ridley?
Not great.
No, I realized
Not great.
at this moment in time in the first mock draft of the 2025 fantasy football season, we are entering the land of non-conviction.
Yes. Oh, that's like, that guy's got upside.
It also is the land where you don't really want to pay attention to current ADPs right now.
Correct.
You want to pay attention to kind of like, look a little deeper. There are a bunch of interesting wide receivers changing teams, right? Like Deebo Samuel's a Commander now. And the pick I'm going to make here is a wide receiver that is on a new team and is the primary target, and I think we'll get peppered with targets from an up-and-coming quarterback. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs in the 6th round, well outside of where his ADP lands, but that's the player I'm going to take here.
He's higher in my rankings, but with Henderson, I don't feel like using my 5th and 6th round on the New England Patriots.
No, that's smart.
I'll just get one, and
Yeah.
that's you're
One's
all
enough.
full, man.
One's enough.
I'm all full.
So I'll take
No more Patriots, please.
I'll take Diggs, and then I was with you. Like the quarterbacks, there's so many names that I'm like I'm wanting it to thin out before I take one in that next bucket. Because we were talking about this on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You look at that and I could have taken Mahomes or Murray or Nix or Baker or Dak or there's just too many names. Aaron Jones goes next, and then Patrick Mahomes goes off the board, first pick of the 7th round. Would that be the lowest Patrick Mahomes has been drafted in?
Oh, yeah.
Ever?
For sure.
Since year 2.
Yeah, that's a little bit wild. And so I'm back in the land of non-conviction.
And, what's wild? Is that a good pick?
I have a different quarterback higher than him, so
Mahomes is so brutal. It's so brutal because everything is still there, and it's just turned off right now.
I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take his running mate of all eternity.
Oh,
interesting.
I'm going to take Travis Kelce in the 7th round. 1, because no one's ever gotten to do that before.
Yeah.
And 2, because I know while Kelce is declining, there is a PPR stability to Travis Kelce. Like I do feel like the position gets fixed with Travis Kelce. Like he is your starter.
Yeah.
You're not streaming the position. You might not get the prolific numbers, but you're getting a 7th round fix at the position. And so I'm going to take it. I'm going to take him in the 7th round. Not feeling like I want to go quarterback, Mike. You are back on the clock, fresh off of a Patriot and a Calvin Ridley.
All right. So now oh man. There's one particular player where you just
Talk to us, Mike.
Yeah, well,
Reveal.
It's much harder because if I bring up his name, there's no way. I'll do it. I'll do the right thing, everybody.
You're going to take him or talk about
I'm
him?
going to do
talk about
both.
him.
I'm going to do both of these things. Drafting Jacoby Myers is going to feel.
Come on, man. That's my Raider.
Drafting Jacoby Myers is not going to feel great, but he just produces throughout his career. He has Geno Smith, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league right now, and it's not going to feel good. So you can put some stickers or something on him. I don't know,
to make him feel spicier?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put Baby Jake, put something good on Jacoby Myers. I don't know how to work this machine.
So TJ
Ooh,
Hawkinson went next after Jacoby Myers. I was between Hawkinson and Kelce for tight end. So I love that pick. I think Hawkinson it's a player that people are going to have a hard time having confidence in drafts, but I think he's going to be very, very solid. Pickens goes at 705, Brian Robinson at 706, Pearsall at 707.
Okay.
Could be a great steal. Bo Nix gone at 708.
That's who I was drafting.
Well, no, you're not, because you don't get to pick him.
No,
He's already
I
picked.
know. I'm saying that's who I was hoping would come back to me.
I feel like that's been your story every round.
yeah.
You're loving this spot. And the pick 11?
Not so far.
DeAndre Swift at 709 could also be a steal. And then Sam
hold on. We're putting a lot of poop on Sam
Laporta. Oh, you figured out how to do.
Well, apparently you had to do it right after you made the pick, so I can't go back and give Jacoby Myers the gold star that he needs. So now I gotta bring someone else down.
Right, yeah.
So Laporta off the board at 710. Do you like that pick?
Porta potty. Because of the poop.
No, we're good.
Yeah, no, we got
We're good. Thank you for telling me.
I think
in the
Hawkinson
seventh
and Laporta in the 7th round is
that's
very good value.
All right, Jason, you're back on the clock. I don't know how many Buccaneers or Raiders or Pittsburgh Pirates are available, but 2 picks here at the turn.
Yeah, this is interesting. I wanted Brian Robinson or DeAndre Swift along with Bo Nix. Those were kind of my primary targets. When I look at the running back position, this is where my team right now, Genty, Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson.
That's your whole running back room.
That's my whole running back room. And the running backs thin out tremendously. There's not a lot of people out there that I am really in love with at this point. Aaron Jones was off the board, so I feel like I need to take one, and it's between 2 bad options. Javonte Williams, who is the primary first.
I was just starting to run the numbers, Jay, on my the running backs weren't in the top 24 with projected off. Like I haven't projected their offense accumulated all the projections for the Cowboys offense. But it's like Dallas is right there again. There's fantasy value in them hills, but I don't know where it is.
But I think I'm actually going to take a different running back.
Oh, you coward!
Got a bag of money this offseason.
Otherwise, he'd be the guy that drafted Javonte.
Right. That would be so. The issue
the
with
hard
drafting
part.
Javonte Williams is
no one calls me yellow.
Yeah.
Unless it's for not drafting Javonte, then it's okay.
Yeah, because I'm terrified. No, I'm going to take Najee Harris.
I think that's a good pick here.
We don't know. Obviously, they drafted Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton will take over. I think it pairs well with Caleb Johnson.
They won't not use Najee.
They're not going to not use him. And I think to start the season, it'll be Najee as the forerunner before Hampton takes over. I could see Caleb Johnson starting the season as more of a timeshare and taking over as the season goes along. So I think they pair pretty nicely together.
All right, Jason went Najee. Jerry Jeudy goes next at 712. That was who I was targeting for the 8th round selection. I was hoping Jeudy, with the Cleveland Browns stank on him, would slide all the way into the 8th round. He didn't. 2 good picks, I think, by Brooks. He's taken 4 wideouts in a row, but Jeudy and Addison back-to-back at the turn. Addison is one of those players that's not going to go as high as he probably should.
No, I wanted to take Jacoby just so I could talk about him. I have Addison just a couple spots higher than Jacoby.
Jason back on the clock, always with an opportunity to draft Javonte Williams.
Oh, he's there.
Oh,
He's
man,
ready.
he's still there?
He's still there.
Can you believe it?
Oh, man.
But you do have other options.
Sometimes you get lucky. And I'm going to draft Kyler Murray.
Okay. Kyler Murray off the board at 802. Look, you know.
There was a lot of talk this offseason about him running more. I believe it. I think Marvin Harrison gets better. It always is a frustrating experience. I shouldn't say always because it wasn't. It was just this last year. It was so frustrating.
It's been a. I mean, between that and then the injury plagued year.
Sure, yeah. He's been injured.
It hasn't felt good in a while.
No, it hasn't. But if you look at 8th round rushing upside, I've got Kyler and Baker basically identical in my rankings. I'm going to take the guy that I think has the higher rushing ceiling.
All right, somebody did it. Javonte Williams is off the board.
It was going to be me if Betts didn't do it.
So Tracy, Cup, Scattaboo.
Oh, Scattaboo. I was hoping he made it back.
Okay. Michael Pittman, and then Javonte goes to Betsy. So just so everyone knows, Matthew Betts is the guy that drafted Javonte. And you can find him on Twitter. Jaylen Warren, off the board at 808. What do you think about that pick? I mean, Jaylen Warren
going to be my pick if he made it down. Yep.
So he went behind Caleb Johnson by 3 rounds and will probably be the day 1 starter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always one of those fun ones to watch in week 1 to see what the breakdown looks like. Jaden Reed.
Reed right there.
That is a great pick.
I will take every opportunity to attack Jaden Reed statistically, and I do. But at the back of the 8th round everyone has value somewhere. That feels great.
He wasn't getting past the Packer fan.
No, he was not.
All right, Mike, you are on the clock, 8th round.
Man, I need so I got 4 wideouts. I got 3 running backs. The running backs are drying up.
4 picks left. Need a quarterback and a tight end over the next 4 rounds.
Tight end is difficult here. There's 2 guys who I'm looking at, and the news of today with Kenny Pickett and Gabriel taking those reps, I had truly believed. I'm like, I think Joe Flacco just wins this job. Like if their goal is to win as many games as possible and not worry about the future, Joe Flacco is the guy you go with. But if they're considering future, then you got to give Kenny Pickett and the other guys the chance. And I bring that up because David Njoku with Joe Flacco would feel incredible at this point. So I'm probably going to have to even go in and make some adjustments on my projections. And
My tight end 4 is still on the board.
your tight end 4.
Yeah,
It's probably Jonnu.
it is.
Yeah, okay, that's my 5, and that's who I was going to go and take. And it's just what is the truth about who are the Miami Dolphins? I don't know, but in the back of the 8th to take the chance, a guy I'll replace him if I have to, but best case scenario is all of a sudden we're the same Dolphins.
He just does what he did
and
last
we
year.
focus on Jonnu Smith.
Last year, he was the tight end 4.
Yeah, so
Jonnu Smith off the board to Mike. I will pull the trigger here on my quarterback. The top 5 quarterbacks I have in my rankings were all drafted in the 3rd and 4th round. My number 6 quarterback overall, who will also pair nicely in the passing game with my running back, I'm going to take Baker. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield at 8-11. I feel good about it. Now, doing a podcast while you mock draft, probably a stupid decision right there because the person drafting after me
Did not
at the turn
have-
already had a quarterback.
Yeah.
So I could have waited an extra round, but I wouldn't have taken either Ingram or Rashad White that he took. So it's coming back around to me at this point. It's weird to see Travis Etienne on the board in the 9th round, but it might be even weirder to draft him. I'm going to take Deebo Samuel. I'm going to do a little tandem at wide receiver of players switching teams, Diggs and Samuel. Samuel's connected to a great quarterback on a great offense. So in the 9th round, I think it's a good place to just solidify some, what we'll call it, veteran leadership in the wide receiver room.
sure.
Mike, you're back on the clock.
All right. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, I mean, speaking of getting weird, Travis Etienne is on the board, but so is the projected starter by this guy. I will take Tank Bigsby,
Sure.
who I think is just a much better running back. Etienne, man, I don't know what to do with Etienne. There's a world where Etienne's the starting running back, and all this is just we all look so foolish and
Please.
stupid.
Please.
For Jason's style
Yeah.
team, like that world exists, but.
I have them.
To me, watching the film, it's like Tank is the much better runner, making Tootin. Oh, Jay, you didn't want to. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
I thought it was
missed
the bit.
I just missed it.
I think Tootin is a bigger problem for Travis Etienne, except he did fumble his first practice carry.
I
of
have
all
them
time.
back to back. Etienne and Bigsby are sitting directly back to back in my rankings, and it's not in a good spot.
Yeah, I understand.
So, but from an upside perspective, somebody to take over and be the future, Bigsby's much more likely to do that. Etienne went right next in this draft. So Bigsby and Etienne, both 9th round picks. Herbert, Charbonnet. I like this pick. Tyler Warren off the board in the 9th round.
yeah,
Loveland right after him. Both guys a shot in the
Yeah,
9th
take
round
the
to be
chance.
the Brock Bowers of this year.
you're not overpaying. That's a good place to do it.
Jaden Higgins, good pick in the 9th round by Kyle. Ramondre off the board. Jason, you're back on the clock. You don't have to think about Javonte, so congrats.
Yeah, I don't have to think about Javonte. There's not a ton of running backs that I like, but I do think Tajay Spears will get some involvement, catch passes. I need more running backs, so I'm going to take Tajay off the board.
All right.
So Tajay Spears, 9th round pick to Jason to pair with Genty, Caleb Johnson, and Najee Harris. The string of wide receivers by
Brooks.
Brooksy, it's over. Roshan Johnson at 9-12.
Gosh darn it.
Who would have thought Mike would be so crestfallen over a Roshan Johnson?
Well, it's just
Late
it did,
round.
in
Darnell Mooney,
in the
what a
10th.
good pick. Oh, Brooks.
Darnell Mooney at 10:01.
You scallywag.
Very good pick. Very good pick. And Jason, you're back on the clock. Tajay Spears is on your team.
A 10th round pick for a guy who's going to be on the field for 80 plus % of the snaps and catch a ton of passes. That's great. That was probably who I was going to pick. Instead, I'm going to have to look a little bit more upside, and
I look inward.
I look inward. I look down deep. It is usually a good bet to take second-year wide receivers, even the ones that you go, I'm not so sure, how their rookie season went, whether I love it or not. But if you've got Josh Allen and you're going into year 2 without a ton of competition, I'm going to take Keon Coleman.
Wow.
And just hope that it works out.
With Shakir on the board.
In the double, well, I'm looking for Shakir is
He's
like
not
a
on
known,
the board anymore.
Shakir's a known commodity, and he probably finishes ahead of Coleman, and that's fine. But that's not going to crack into my roster with the other wide receivers there. I'm hoping for, in the 10th, 11th round, I'm not just taking who I think scores more fantasy points this year. I'm looking for the upside and who could really level up and become someone that helps you win a championship.
Yeah, a lot of picks going off the board that I was targeting. Khalil Shakir went next. He was the highest on my board.
This is the rookie wide receiver run.
Then Jordan Mason, Luther Burden, Matthew Golden was the next highest on the board for me. Then Egbuka, and then Jack Besh, and who should have been on your team, Jay.
Oh, for sure. Dang it.
And then Ford goes
He's
next.
not a very good pirate.
Mike is on the clock. We are wrapping up this draft. 10th round, 11th round, all that's left.
So I don't know what you guys.
You will need a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all's plan is with the quarterback position. So I'm just gonna take one. I know you guys have one, but I'm just gonna take one right here. And we're gonna. Oh man, there's so much.
Justin Fields.
Well, just slow down, Cowboy.
All right.
Because I would take in a
good.
real world scenario, I would take a higher ADP quarterback right here, and then on my way back, I would take Justin Fields. So
do it.
So do it.
Okay,
coward.
Well, we got the Falcon at the turn here, who's doing weird stuff just to try and blow up the draft.
We'll see what he does.
I'm gonna take Dak.
That's great.
Yeah, Dak's a great pick there at 10-10. Has Pickens to go with CeeDee Lamb there. More explosive offense. I am back on the clock. When you talk about a player that will be on the field all game long, every single game, like Darnell Mooney, to me that player is Josh Downs in Indianapolis. I think Josh Downs is
that's a fantastic pick right here.
He's a super underrated player.
Oh, Trey Harris.
Trey Harris goes off the board at 10-12. Mr. Tootin at 11-01. And I've got every position, so I can take whatever I want here. I'm with Jason on the philosophy of, hey, I'm gonna take a shot at something special working out.
Yeah, you're not drafting floor in the 11th.
And for that reason, I will take a flyer on Jalen Wright out of Miami.
Sure.
At running back.
Yeah, there was a little bit of news.
So we'll see. What happens in camp. Mike, you went with Fields, like you said, so Dak and Fields together. Brandon Ayuk, that's a good last round pick, just to see how the offseason progresses. To Al Borland, Garindo, Andrews, Ollie Gordon, Cowdle.
I'm riding naked with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But we only did 11 rounds, so.
And let's see who the Mr. Irrelevant is and see what kind of contract they get here. Jason, you have your last pick. Jalen McMillan and Njoku went ahead. You have all your positions covered, so it's I'll give you your pick. You want to pick?
Sure.
Your picks, you should take Roman Wilson.
That's literally who I have written down, Roman Wilson, and that is who is.
Do you know how to spell it?
Thanks for taking who I told you to pick.
Yes. Did you see that?
Thank you for listening to me. No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, but it just felt like you.
Yeah, I mean, Roman Wilson, a prospect I really liked last year as a rookie coming in. He only got on the field one game last year, was injured the entire season. If you don't even know who Roman Wilson is, he was last year's
fault.
He was a day 2 pick, right? For the Steelers.
The Steelers don't know who he is yet.
Yeah, and so if Aaron Rodgers comes to town with George Pickens gone, I think Roman Wilson has a chance to actually be a real contributor. In the last round, I'm fine taking that.
You can see the entire draft board on the YouTube. We'll recap each of our teams. By the way, shout out to Brooks for just a beautiful capstone final pick of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was the Mr. Irrelevant of our first mock draft. Congratulations.
Brock Purdy, George Kittle stack right away.
I have Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Joe Mixon, and Jalen Wright at running back, Marvin Harrison, DK Metcalf, Diggs, Samuel, and Downs at wide receiver, My quarterback's Baker Mayfield, and my tight end is Travis Kelce. Mike?
I got Christian McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Travion Henderson, and Tank Bigsby at the running back position. Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers are my wideouts. I got Jonnu hoping for the repeat, and then for this particular exercise, I doubled up on quarterback. I took Dak, and then my upside pick of Justin Fields.
My quarterback, tight end onesies are Kyler Murray and Brock Bowers. At running back, I got Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, Najee Harris, and Tajay Spears. And at wide receiver, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Keon Coleman, and Roman Wilson.
I can say that the mid-round convictions are still forming. I think that's what we learned.
Certainly.
We learned on today's show. I felt like the first 2-3 rounds were pretty easy. I felt like when we got into those middle rounds, it was interesting to see where people are valuing players. Kamara going in the middle of the 4th round, David Montgomery going in the late 5th round. A couple of interesting names there. There were some runs. The quarterbacks all went together pretty quickly. The top 5 did in the 3rd and 4th round, and I think that will happen. And those rookie running backs all in the 5th round was pretty interesting as well. So I'd love to hear from you out there on the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment. Let us know what picks you liked, you didn't like, why we're stupid. That's why we do these mock drafts, just to see how stupid we really are. And a reminder, the Ultimate Draft Kit, 10 days away. UltimateDraftKit.com if you want to go check that out. Thank you to everybody on our team for participating in the mock draft as well. Appreciate y'all. BCat, Julia, Betsy, Jake, Borg, Papa Josh, and Al.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.